In this episode, you get to peek over my shoulder while I help a coaching client get her mojo back. This episode is brought to you by agentprospecting.com.au. What that means is this company that I've fully trained up, all of these people are fully trained up that literally they will prospect for you, be that telemarketing, be that Facebook lead generation. If you want more appraisals, just hand it to you, just email it to you. Name, email address, phone number, whether they're ready to sell or whether they just want to check up on price. All of that just emailed to you of one lead, one appraisal per day, agentprospecting.com.au. And also, let's just say this episode's also brought to you by me. If you haven't got a copy of my book yet, go to Amazon, and I think, don't hold me to this, but I think they're $1. So if you go to Amazon right now and get a copy of that book there for $1, it costs me more than that to print, I can promise you. Like literally, under cost price, cheaper than firewood. So there you go, grab a copy and use it and burn it if you hate it. So, but you might just love it because it is the story punching above your weight. It is how I have been able to do things like that. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger there and me and him working out at Gold's Gym, doing activities like that, living the life of my dreams that I never thought possible, all contained the how-to, how I did it, the mindset, the marketing, just everything within that book. $1 at Amazon. Let's get on to today's episode. You want the normal real estate training you've been told a million times? Make cold calls, knock on doors. Best be switching off now, because in this podcast we go out of the box using unknown tactics, primarily that the real estate industry's never heard of, in order to get you called in more often, convert those listings, and get more success without the painful cold calling. Listen up, we're in for a ride. This is Real Estate Renegades. Okay, so you'll get to peek over the shoulder now with some of the advice that I'm giving to one of our favorite coaching clients. And she's come to me with a concern that there are some things holding her back from doing the activities that she knows she needs to do. So, so here we go. Let's go through what, and I will preface this by saying, I'm by no means an expert in this in some ways, because I don't consider myself a mindset coach whatsoever and how to get our brains to do what we want to do. You can see that, you know, many guys who know me have seen my weight fluctuate up and down worse than Oprah, you know. And yet I'm with a partner who has discipline that is amazing. And she is, you know, just in physical perfection because she's so disciplined. In fact, you know, we've been up early and she went to the gym while I went to do this. It's almost like I'm disciplined to do this work stuff because I'm compelled to do so. And she's disciplined. Of course, she works hard. But yeah, she's still got that physicality discipline, and there's something stopping me from doing that. So I am not the expert here. But here's the interesting thing. Because I've probably had more mindset challenges than most, because I grew up in Ipswich, you know, my income before real estate was never more than $40,000 a year. So I never dreamed of the sorts of income levels I have been able to achieve both in real estate and now in my business as it stands right now. I never dreamed I'd be able to do some of the amazing things that many of you guys have seen as far as, you know, dreams come true, who I've been able to socialize with and work with, and all of my heroes and things. So I'm going to share with you, I suppose, the way I programmed my brain to do the things when I was scared to death to do them. In fact, I will get you a copy of my book. You've probably already got it. That actually has a few of those tactics in there. So do let me know if you haven't got my book, and I'll get it for you, because it'll show you, like, literally, you know, step by step, when I had $500,000 on the line and I didn't have $500,000, you know, and I had to say yes, one way or the other, to Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was ready to go and do an event. And I was sitting there going, I can't afford to do this, but I can't, in all good conscience, given that this is my dream from when I was a teenager, to even meet Arnold, let alone work with him, let alone eventually become, you know, friends with him. That's dream come true stuff. And here I was, not being able to afford to say yes and not being able to afford to say no. So you can imagine I was paralyzed with fear. So, you know, I'm going to show you some of the tactics I used to get out of paralysis and into the action taken to do the job that needed to be done. So let me just share my screen. So first off, here are the steps. One, you've got to believe that what you're doing is worthy, possible, and it's going to work. You've got to have a good belief. Now, I've done every mindset coach training on planet Earth in order to get this silly brain to kind of, want to play ball. And so just move my silly head there so we can see the slides. So yeah, I've done every mindset training on planet Earth. And a lot of them say, you've just got to believe. You've just got to change your beliefs. And I have no idea how to go and change your beliefs. No idea. So there's sort of a cycle the way our brain works. It's very simplistic, but I'm going to go into belief. These are the steps. You've got to believe it first. Then we've got to have a goal, crystal clear and specific. That was that video I sent you this morning. And if you're watching this, and not the person that this video was intended for, there's a video called Thank God It's Monday, Season 6, Episode 1. Check that out. Eric Thomas, Thank God It's Monday, Season 6, Episode 1. Check that out on YouTube. That's the video I sent our friend here this morning. So he says about getting a goal, making it crystal clear, very specific, write it down. Then we need a plan to make that goal happen that's well thought out, very specific. We need tactics and systems to make that plan work. So we need to know, once we've got our plan, what we're going to do, tactics and systems to make it happen. Then we, in a great, it's great if you can have some ongoing accountability. I know you're in a sort of accountability system with Naomi, so you might want to take that to a new level. But they're the steps, right? So let's go through them one by one. The first thing is belief, and here is this structure. The structure is that the cycle is how you believe about yourself, about your business, about your success and everything will lead to you feeling a certain way. And then those feelings and motivation will lead you to take some activities that are a certain quality, that are a certain enthusiasm, that are a certain quantity and quality of activities, of actions, which will lead to an outcome, which will then reinforce a belief. And that works both positively, because it goes round and round in circles. That works if you believe that you're going to be awesome, you're going to feel great, and you're going to get up and rock it, you're going to do the job that needs to be done and feeling great, you're going to get wonderful outcomes. It's going to reinforce the belief that things are awesome. And that's also true in reverse. And there's a hint of that being the case for you at the moment. There's a hint of a lack of belief, fear and things of that nature. It's going to lead you to feel a bit ick and then not do, by your message to us that some of the things you need to be doing that you're just not doing. That's based on this. So you're not doing them. So you're getting outcomes that are less than you could do, which is going to reinforce the belief of being fearful. So we've got to switch that on its head. And no matter how many times I tried to enter the belief cycle there at the belief, I could never just go and change my beliefs, ever. I could never just will myself to go, oh, I believe one thing, but now I'm just going to go, I'm going to concentrate, and I'm going to change my beliefs. Could never do it. And I tried everything, hypnosis and, affirmations and all of these things, and I could never do it. Here's how I did it. I could artificially manipulate my feelings and motivation or whatever on a daily basis, temporarily. I could temporarily manipulate my feelings and motivations on a daily basis by listening to people like the video I sent you, Eric Thomas, Tony Robbins, Joe Rogan. If you just put into Spotify or YouTube, motivational video, there'll be all the best compilations on planet Earth. There's the 5-second lady, is it Roberta? No, I can't think of the name, damn it. But if you put the 5-second rule, there's a woman who does this amazing book, and it's just this 5-second rule. Have a listen to that speech. Find your artificial feeling enhancement tactic. For me, those are the people, the Eric Thomases, the Jocko Willink, David Goggins, Kevin Hart, Joe Rogan, just sort of stuff that I would, and what they would do is it would get me feeling good daily. Now, the next day I'd lie there awake at night and be panicking again, right? But just for that half a day, or for whatever it took, because if I felt good and then I had got a few punches in the face, which happens inevitably, I'd take the lunch break out and I would go and listen again. I'd go for a walk. I'd go get some steps in, and I would, listen again, get new, and then that YouTube video or that Spotify compilation or whatever, would scrape me up off the floor and get me back into the right feelings and motivation so that on a daily basis, I can take the activities that need to be taken, leading to the great outcomes. And now I'm not scared of this craziness anymore. Now I have goals that I just know are going to happen because my beliefs have been changed, reinforced by the outcomes we've got. So that's kind of the cycle, and it works. But I've never made it change there, but I've loved making it change there because I get to do it even though I don't technically believe that it's possible. Like, believe me, when I thought that I had Arnold Schwarzenegger booked and all of that sort of thing, I still didn't really believe that it was true. I thought I was being scammed. At some level, I really thought I was the victim of a scammer because I hadn't spoken to Arnold at that time. I'd just been phone calls and emails with his agent over in New York City. Arnold's in LA. I was talking to an agent in New York. I didn't even know if I was being scammed at some level. I still, prayed and hoped that all of my money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, every penny I owned, wasn't going to be, ripped off me. But but I couldn't believe. But despite the fact that it was beyond my belief structure, I artificially motivated myself with what to do. We made a plan. We knew what we had to do on a daily basis to get the job done, took the activities, got the outcome. And then I thought, oh, if that's possible, what else is possible? So the next thing we did was Richard Branson. Within 6 months, we worked with Richard Branson in that same year. The next year, Gary Vaynerchuk. The next year, George St. Pierre. The next year, Arnold again in 2017. And then the next year, George St. Pierre. All of my heroes. All because I did it this way. So that's kind of that. So we need to get you to believe it. And so however you do that, you might artificially prop up your belief by looking at other people who have walked the path that you are walking right now. We've just got to get you rock solid believing that you are able to compete with the competitor that you mentioned, that you're able to compete, you're able to get it done. And these girls were a startup when I worked with them. They're just killing it up there in Gympie at the moment. Lee Sutherland, he did one of our strategies on Facebook, got an appraisal for $2.43 and had his best 22 days in 10 years of real estate following the very things that we're working with you. I'm going to tell you about Joanne. This is Joanne Riley. She's an amazing woman, and her brand now is huge. She's totally dominant in her area. It's hot pink. That doesn't do it justice. It is hottest of hot pink. Billboards of this woman up there on the Sunshine Coast at Twin Waters. There was her first billboard with her book. And again, her social media is everywhere. Let me actually, I've got it up on my other screen. Let me see. Joe. Here's Joe's page. All right, so have a look. And you'll see from the social media work that we're doing with you, this looks very familiar. So have a look at how dominant she is. You can imagine this is her timeline, that her marketplace sees nothing but hot pink and her face in all the various ways. She's selling properties like crazy, and her market is everywhere. Now, this looks like, oh, wow, she's really got this all together. Well, let me share with you something that isn't betraying her confidence, because Joanne has shared this on webinars before. So she's shared this publicly. She was very intimidated by some competitors. She had just, I think when we started working together, she had just been convinced to start up her own company. So I think she started up her own company literally when we started working with her. And her ex-employer, and so two companies up there, she just could never believe that she could even compete with them, let alone totally dominate them. And within 2.5 years, she is now completely dominating her entire area and left those competitors in the dust. She'll probably do $600,000 or $700,000 GCI by herself this year. Right, by herself in this last financial year. I think that's what Naomi said. Her game was in the recent financial year that's just passed. So her mindset where you are now from your message that you gave me reminds me of her mindset 2.5 years ago. And boy, oh boy, when she took the action required, when she found her way, and her way might be different, how she took the action when she was scared might be different than your way, might be different than my way. But that's what we have to find. I've shared with you the way I do it, which is the artificial kind of get pumped up on a daily basis. And what we're going to talk about now is the specificity of what you need to be pumped up enough to do. All right, so let me get back to sharing the screen and let's get back to that. I definitely wanted to share with you that it's possible. It's definitely possible because I share the same thing. I have been scared to death of my goals before. And again, like when you sent that message through, Joanne, really, it resonated with me because it reminded me so much of what Joanne said to me a couple of years ago. Boy, oh boy, did she get through that big time. So let's get through the next sort of bit. So that's Joe. Alrighty. So we've got belief. Now we need the goal. Once we've got our belief system in place, we need the goal to be, and it needs to be crystal clear. So I SMS'd you this morning and I got your goal and I sent you this video. So first off, watch that video again and see if Eric is your flavor of, maybe your daily person to get you up and rocking, but if you watch that video, you've set your goal that you want to know. And I know I texted you this morning and your goal was, and here's the steps, these are the things. How much money do you want to earn? How much does that result in GCI? And you sent me through the gross commission you wanted to earn figure. So I've based it on that. How many sales do we need? How many listings do we need? How many listing presentations do we need? And how many check-up on price appraisals, what we call property price reports, do we need based on that? So I just quickly did the calculations, just guessing based on your area. So if you wanted to do 360,000 in GCI, in gross commission, that's 20, approximately based on the median property price in your area, that's 29 sales at the median price level. And that's at a 2.5% commission. So make sure you're getting 2.5%. If you're not, we need to talk further about how to consistently and constantly get that 2.5% commission. So 29 sales is what we need to make your goal happen. That means 32 listings for the year. And I was just guessing 10% of them might fall over. Finance, withdrawn from the market, whatever, right? So if that sort of fall over rate of how many get withdrawn from the market, maybe lose to another agent, withdrawn, whatever the case may be, they don't finance up, if that's more than 10%, then adjust these figures accordingly when you do your maths. So 32 listings though is what I came up with. I guessed that you should be winning 2 in 3 listings, even with your mojo not being too flash, based on what I've been seeing lately from you. So if you're winning of a listing opportunity, now that's how many listing presentations where there is a listing to be won, yes or no, that you should be winning at least 2 in 3 of those. I still don't want you to even lose 1 in 3 to a competitor, but I'm trying to be conservative here with your numbers. So 47 listing opportunities is what you need. So what I'm saying here is I'm going to suggest that 1 in 5 of your appraisals, your property price reports, because as you know, some of your property price reports, some of your appraisals, for want of a better term, are going to be just a quick drop off of a report. There you go. If you've got any questions, give me, and then getting out of there. Some of them will be no, come and have a look around and tell me about that. Well, that's when you turn that into a full listing presentation. So what I'm going to guesstimate is that 1 in 5 of your call-ins through all the means we're going to talk about in a moment are going to be an opportunity to list. Now, if we find that that is different than 1 in 5, then we need to adjust up or down accordingly. So I'm going to get you and Naomi to monitor that percentage over the next 3 months so that we know whether that 1 in 5 is conservative or whether it's optimistic and we need to go even further. Maybe it's 1 in 10 of the appraisals is an opportunity to list. I don't know. You and Naomi will have to monitor that one. So over 50 weeks, you can have 2 weeks off for the year. What that means is you need to do 5 property price report drop-offs a week. So that's 1 a day. So now this grandiose goal that you had that you were scared to death can be reduced down to, you need to tell 1 person a day how much their house is worth. Just 1. And it doesn't matter if that's just a quick drop-off of a report where they just get to meet you and then you get out of there, or whether that's a full appraisal and listing opportunity. Just tell someone, 1 person a day, what their house is worth. And you've nailed this. So see how we've taken this from a big goal, more money than you've ever made before, to, I just got to tell 1 person a day what their house is worth. I can do that. I can call someone now and tell them. That's it. Just got to do that each and every day. Now, so now we're going to wake up and know precisely what you need to get done that day. Now, remember, that's say 1 in 5 or 1 in 10 that is going to be a sale now or soon. But remember this principle, the power of the future bank, that when you meet these people now, sure, one of them is going to be a listing now or soon. But what about those 4 out of 5 or those 9 out of 10 or whatever that aren't, as you stay in touch with them forever? Every one of them, if you nurture them well, the way I've seen you are nurturing on social media, they're going to be seeing you everywhere. I'm loving what I'm seeing from you on social. You nurture them with a good CRM follow-up system. Every one of those ones that don't sell now will be a future bank listing. They will come to you if you do the job right in follow-up communication. So we definitely need to get that in check, because what that means is 360,000 is the worst you're going to do ever for the rest of your life, because you're putting all these checks. You're putting more checks into the future bank than you're putting into the current bank, because it's only 1 in 5, 1 in 10, whatever that number is. So what that means is all those future banks are going to come to you without this painful work. They're just going to come to you saying, hey, your name, thanks so much for staying in touch all this time. Oh, sorry, I've been such a pain and I haven't been communicated back at you. But anyway, we're ready to sell. Can you come around? Now, that's a very specific script, because one of my clients and friends, I was at an in-office meeting at his office and he showed me his phone. That was a text that he got onto his phone. And I said, man, good job. That's lay down misere. That one's going to happen. Who's that? And he goes, no idea. Because his follow-up system had been doing the follow-up work. He had no idea who it was. So in their mind, they were apologizing to him that they'd been slack. And when can you come around? He had no idea who, because he had a system doing that follow-up. He didn't have to remember. It was masterful use of his CRM in a follow-up capacity. So, so we've got to get a goal, a crystal clear and specific a goal, and then a plan. Then we need tactics. And so we've got our plan, 1 a day, tactics and systems. So here are the systems that we need to absolutely nail. Emotionless, scripted, perfected, as if you were programming a real estate robot. Now, what we're going to decide then between you and Naomi on your next meeting is which of these systems are you going to do? Are you going to be the real estate robot that does it? And which of these can you just not bring yourself to do? Now, based on the sales results, like I had a look at yourrealestate.com, and I may be wrong, but there would be some budget in there for you to put someone on if any of these tasks are beyond you, either emotionally or skill-based, or you just don't want to, or whatever the case may be. But let's go through them. First off, you need your initial contact system and script perfected, meaning when one of those leads comes in, and you mentioned there's a few leads that you've been kind of not following up for one reason or another. Maybe you've just been taking the easy ones that say, yeah, I'm selling now, come around, quick, 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 quick. And you haven't been doing the ones that say, oh yeah, I'll have an update on my house, whatever the case may be. So we need to get your initial contact and script system nailed, right? What you say, word for word, when you pick up the phone and say, hey, do you want to, you asked for a report, did you? Or whatever the case may be, yeah? We need that system systemized. Then what you say at the front door when you're dropping off that report. So you've got your property price report, you know, it's all branded up. This isn't a property price report, of course. Oops, let me just make sure you're seeing this. And I know you know what I mean by a property price report. And I know this isn't a property price report. This is our playbook. But this would be the sort of thing your thing would look like. It'd be nicely bound. It'd have your face on it. It'd be property price report, nice cover. So it looks like it's got some substance. It's not just some stapled rubbish that prints out off, you know, off the RP data or Price Finder or whatever the case may be. It looks like it's worth some money, you know. So that's how your property price report would be packaged, and again with your branding prominently displayed on it, and I know you've got one of those. So just make sure that you've really nailed the PPR drop-off system. There's like a half-hour training on what to say at the door, word for word, and you practice those scripts until you can deliver it. Even though it's a script, you deliver it really, really naturally. It just sounds like you. 1 or 2 questions you ask at the door that will ascertain whether this is an opportunity to list or whether this is a just drop off and get the hell out of there. Then once you've figured out what sort of where they're at, you either rebook a full listing opportunity, or you put them into a follow-up trail in your CRM. So the next thing we need to do is make sure you work with Naomi and get your follow-up campaign emotionlessly programmed into your CRM, so that then you can just, you or some other real estate robot in your company can just diligently adhere to the daily reminders that the CRM give you to follow up all of your people you put into that CRM on a daily basis. Because you can imagine every day, it'll be day 5 for some people with day 5 actions, and it'll be day 329 for people you met 329 days ago. So on every day, there'll be some day 5, some day 9s, you know, and the more you do, the more you do. At the start, there'll be very little because we're only just starting the system, but eventually there'll be 5 things to do that day. There'll be a reminder phone call to make. There'll be a drop off of this gift to make. There'll be a knock on a door once a year to, you know, to say hi, just a pop in. You know, there'll be various things. So work with Naomi about the follow up and get it emotionless, because then I definitely want you to know that every single one of these steps does not require the lead agent talent. Meaning, you know, what I'm saying there is you don't have to do any of this. You can get all of this done at wages rates, you know, $25, $30 an hour. Good, solid, well-trained people could be trained to do any and all of these things. So if any of them, for whatever reason, you don't want to do, even that is, you just hate doing it because it really does bring up feelings of ick, get someone else to do it, right? Because your highest and best use of your time when you're on fire is $500 to $1,000 an hour. So let's just stop and share for a minute. So if you're doing any of those tasks that could be done at $25, $30 an hour, you're not saving $25, $30 an hour. You're costing yourself the difference between that and your hourly rate. So say even conservatively, your hourly rate's $200 an hour. You're not saving $30. You're costing yourself $170 in opportunity cost. So that's kind of, you know, the thinking there. All right. So then what we need to do, once we've got our plan in place and our tactics, there's all manner of phone scripting. How do we get that one person a day? Well, if you hit Naomi up, we've got the by any means necessary script. That's a good one, where literally you can book an appraisal with virtually anyone you meet. But, you know, make sure, remember that once you've got this stuff, you've got the full PPR drop-off system, because that's critical to making the whole thing work. So make sure you watch that training. So buyer conversions, there is a script in your world about how to find if someone wants an updated report, if they're a buyer, if they're buying something, if they're an open for inspection guest. We need to be asking the right things at our open home to mine for listing opportunities. There is your database that is currently, I would suggest, probably not been overly mined, overly dug through to find those appraisal opportunities. There's your current leads from your current systems that you have mentioned that you're maybe not doing anything, or you didn't follow them all up. I think you said you're doing something with about half of them, and then fear stops you from taking action. So you could use the apology script from that old data from the ones you've ignored. There's a script we've got called the apology script, so grab that from Naomi. You could use that to call those old leads. Now, that won't be as good. Here's the thing with leads from any of those systems, like from our lead generation system that we do for agents, etc. Leads like that have asked for a property price report or an update on their price or an appraisal, they age like bread, not like wine. Does that make sense? If you leave it even a couple of days, they've probably forgotten. That's why you need to use the apology script, because they probably don't even remember asking for the report, you know? So again, telemarketing, you or outsourced, you could absolutely have all of that done. So that's our belief, that's our goal, that's our plan, that's our tactics and systems, ongoing accountability. Now, I'll leave this to you and Naomi, how you're going to do it, but definitely there are two different types of people. Some are motivated by, if you make your one appraisal a day, don't reward yourself based on the 360,000. Reward yourself based on the activity that is going to take to get the 360,000. So say you do 2 or a month of one appraisal a day, and you do your measurement of your numbers that we need to do so we know that we're on track. Remember how I said we need to know how many property price reports do we have to drop off to get one listing opportunity? Remember I said we've got to measure that number. If you do that for a month, 5 days a week, where you do your one and you miss a day and then you make up for it by doing 2 the next day, and then you have a bad week where you get to Wednesday and you think, oh my God, I haven't even dropped off a PPR and I haven't done an appraisal, that you buckle down and you don't leave that office until you tell 3 people what their home's worth, by some of these tactics or whatever. And you get to the end of the month and you go, done. Reward yourself, all right? Really reward yourself and think to yourself, out of that 360,000, we know there's going to be some play money in there. Well, assign some of that play money to rewarding yourself along the way for a job well done, maybe on a monthly basis with your accountability buddy. In this case, it could be Naomi. Here's the other way people are motivated. Sometimes they're motivated by rewards. Sometimes after, I'm going to say you're going to commit to this because we've broken it down to daily activity. Now we're going to really commit. Because what I'm saying is most people aren't rewarded by reward, and the first person they'll let down in a reward situation is themselves. I'm going, did I really want that? Whatever the reward is, because most of the rewards we'll give ourselves, I'm going to treat myself to go to the movies. Well, you know what? You're going to go to the movies yourself anyway, no matter what. So treat yourself with something that you really want. But here's what really motivates most people. Choosing a punishment and finding a strong accountability buddy. So here's what one of my guys did, Wayne, and a bunch of people have done this, is he gave a credit card details to a mentor, and if he didn't hit his accountability activities, his car, and I did the designs, and this was ready to go, they were going to go and steal his car. And I don't know if he gave him the keys or whatever, but he had committed. So I don't think he would have on his honor system gone back on it had he failed. Though he didn't fail. He made it happen. But yeah, look at that Wayne. Now Buckingham, you can imagine, that's his biggest competitor. His BMW was going to be wrapped with that. Look at that. That was going to be the front. And so he printed that out and that became his motivation. So what's more painful? The pain of telling someone what their house is worth every day, or the thought that you would have to drive around where you have paid $4,000 to get your car wrapped with that. Don't sell with me, sell with my biggest competitor. So he hit his goal. He hadn't hit anywhere near the monetary goals that we were talking about for that quarter. And he ended up hitting a 6-figure goal for the quarter. And that was his goal, 106,000, I think it was. And he had been, I think 100,000 was the goal, and I think 106,000 was what he did. He hadn't hit that like ever, So there it is. That's the other way for your accountability. So go get them. So what I would say is, that's the last of those things. I'm just trying to stop my share. There we go. Cool. All right. So that's a little bit of how I would deal with it. A few of my things that I've done when I've been in the state you've been in, and by the way, I have done that accountability goal. I had a competitor of mine. He's a really good dude. I mean, I really like him, but he technically is another speaker. He's another competitor. He had a check of mine for $5,000. And if I didn't hit my goal, he was to bank it and he was going to keep it. Right. And I just did not want my check to go into the bank account of a competitor of mine. So, Matt Steinway has done this. Jay Stanley from Bunbury has done this. And Jay's an amazing agent, does a couple hundred sales a year. There's a bunch of, Danelle Weissman has done that sort of punishment goal. And let me tell you this, every one of us, all of us hit our goal. I've never seen anyone fail doing it that way, ever, because the pain of the punishment is too great, So sometimes it's monetary, sometimes it's kind of the car wrap and embarrassing. I remember Danelle Weissman's was an embarrassment one. Whatever it is, monetary, punishment, embarrassment, or whatever. Just don't make it positive. Don't make it a monetary donation to charity because that's positive. Make it a monetary donation to your most rivaled competitor, So there it is. That's all I got for you. If that is of some help, then I'm grateful to have done this for you. So, because from what I've seen of your execution in the social media space with our systems, you're doing great. So we have got to just get that mojo back so you can capitalize on that doing great, because you really, really are doing a great job. I had a look at your numbers of your video sold flyers and your branding. Like, your stuff reminds me that you're well on the way to the Joe Riley-esque branding that results in the Chris Gilmore-esque branding that results in, everything that most agents in this country aspire to. It's all the same principles, and we've got different people at various stages along the way. Joe, I've been working with for a couple of years. Chris Gilmore, I started working with 10 years ago. So he's 10 years into this, but he's a household name in his area now. So you're on the way. If we can get this mindset stuff fixed, it'll be, awesome for you. All right. If that was of some help, great. If not, then no harm, no foul. I did my best, because that's all I got. I'm certainly not a mindset expert by any means, but I hope that was helpful. All right. And if you watch this and you're not the person I filmed it for, if you're just watching, however I might use this in the future, maybe pop me a line, and maybe by that stage, the person I made this for might be willing to share, and, we might be able to pass her a note of thanks for her sharing this video with you. And she might even have some advice like I'm sure Joanne would have for this person now. So I might even make that meeting happen. Hey, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if this video was any help first. Hey, all right. Talk soon.
Wow. Well, there you go. I hope you liked the episode. If you like that, then what you need to do is you need to subscribe. You need to get more of this craziness, because we got more are coming. I'm never standing still, and we've got so many more guests. We've got so many more strategies, more out-of-the-box thinking. So if you haven't subscribed, literally, you're like throwing away thousands of dollars. Because I tell you, if you haven't subscribed, you don't come back. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find you, I'm going to market to you, and I'm going to charge you for the very stuff that on this podcast we give away for free. So whack that subscribe button on whatever your favorite podcast weapon of destruction is, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.